Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Laura Bueller from Stripe, where I lead startup marketing and community programs. Today's interview is really something special. To first set some context, it almost sounds like a truism today that the AI space is moving faster than anything we've ever seen before. So, in 2024, the Stripe team conducted an analysis on the top AI companies by revenue on our platform. The data was actually mind-blowing. AI companies are not just growing fast, they are completely rewriting the startup playbook. The data compared those AI companies with a similar cohort of SaaS companies from just a few years prior, and the growth dynamics are unlike anything we've ever seen. So AI companies are dramatically compressing the timelines to growth, and the real question is, what is it that they are doing differently or able to do that their SaaS predecessors didn't do? They are achieving a step change in growth. And so we're going to find out. Our guest today is Anton Osika, founder of Lovable. This is one of the most remarkable AI startups in the market today. It's an idea to app product. Basically, anyone can spin up a prototype in 20 seconds, and a full application will take you a few minutes. It's not very often that a product like Lovable and a team like Anton's comes along. They reported reaching 50 million in ARR and millions of users within just 6 months of GA. So we're going to unpack exactly how they did that. Leading our conversation today is Stripe's own Eka Demiliano. She's a former founder, former head of product at Retool, and knows a thing or two about hypergrowth. She's been with Stripe since we were just 50 people. Before we begin the talk, though, in case you're new to Lovable, here's a quick overview.
Thank you so much, Laura. Anton, I cannot tell you just how excited I am to be having this chat today. I think I mentioned to you that a few weeks ago, my product management team held a hackathon, and within just 3 hours, they had put together real viable prototypes on products that I would want to fund tomorrow. So with no eng, no design. So thank you for bringing such a powerful product to the world.
It's my pleasure.
So I wanted to start by going back to the beginning. I think it's fair to say that 5 years ago, Lovable could not have existed. The technology just simply wasn't there. And you guys were certainly some of the first movers in seeing that opportunity. I'm wondering, was there a particular moment that sparked your idea for Lovable?
Yeah, I can go back to the beginning, sure. I think it was beginning of 2023 when the large language models, they started to be clear that they could reason. It was controversial at the time, but they could understand complex problems, break them down, and convert it to working code. And I thought like there would be a rapid advance here, but it felt like people were quite unimaginative in gluing these reasoning engines into actual applications that could carry out tasks for you. So I built this tool over a few weekends. I call it GPT Engineer. And what it could do is that I type in create me a snake game, and then it did a few like specific syntax outputs to write all the files required for a snake game and start it on my computer. And I was impressed by this tool, right? So I put this out as a quick video recording on Twitter, and it absolutely blew up, this open source tool, and a huge community came out of that open source project. So from that came the idea that maybe I should start a company in this space, and I had to think about exactly what it should be a bit more. And the real, like, where it really hit me that I should do this is that we're going to see a completely new type of experience and interface to build software products. And it's not going to be humans looking at the code. It's going to be something new, something more like visual and driven by talking to an AI. And it's going to unlock that, to date, 1% of the world's population, even less, can write code. And for the 99%, it's a big 0 to 1, where tons have great ideas, ability to execute, but they've been kind of held off by that creating software is really, really hard. So that's what we set out to build with Lovable. And yeah, so far users think that vision is very, very captivating, and we're getting a lot of traction from it.
Yeah. So tell me more about your users. One of the hardest things that I thought about building product at Retool was that it's such a widely applicable tool when you're building developer tools. And how do you decide who your target user is and who to build for?
So from the beginning, a part of the vision was like, okay, there's going to be a rapid explosion of new startups with like one person creating a lot with just AI, and we want to build for those founders. And as like we started building out the product, and the AI wasn't like as good as it is today, of course, then we looked around and thought, like similarly to Retool, actually, is this a tool for building internal applications? And we thought that might be the case because we spoke to a lot of users that liked it for this application. But then once we just launched and really saw what people were using it for, it became clear that we don't need to be very, very specific about what you should use it for. Today, it's used a lot for, as you said, like creating this first version of your startup both by teenagers or kids that are like, I want to make money and create something, and serial entrepreneurs that raised like $50 million, but now they work completely alone in Lovable. And now increasingly inside of companies, like you said, even you had a hackathon at Stripe, right? Where you could, where it's a tool for designing or ideating exactly what type of things should you as a company add to your offering, or use as a tool to make yourself more productive. So it's used all across this place by literally everyone right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. It's like you said, you're just democratizing access to development, which most of us just have never had. How much education do you have to do with users on this just completely new paradigm of building?
Yeah, this is a great question. I think the wow moment for like, oh, this would have taken months to build this beautiful websites in the past. That happens instantly almost, and that hooks people, and they realize that in itself educates people that I can build something now. This wasn't possible before. Now I can build something. I have to become a bit better at how to prompt and so on. But as you start building something more complex, when it requires like setting up payments to Stripe is quite simple, but like if you have many features, then you do need a bit of education to understand what are the different components here. So there's some things running in my browser, and then there's some things that need to, for logging in, for example, you connect to our default integration to Supabase. And that takes a bit of figuring out, or watching a YouTube video, for example. And yeah, we're increasingly letting the AI do more and more of the education as it talks to the user.
Oh, that's amazing. Just using the tools to teach the tools. And so are you saying basically like that folks are not limited by imagination? Like they can come up with the ideas. It's just like, once they have the idea, how do they take it to the next level? Or are you also finding that you kind of, you need to tell people like, hey, here's the art of the possible. Here's all the stuff you can do.
So to date, we haven't helped on the ideation stage, but I think seeing something come to life helps you as a human understand much better what you actually want to build. Like we usually have quite abstract ideas of something we want to build, and then when we see it and we can click around with it, then we get better ideas. So I think that's the major like ignition for more creativity, that you can instantly get something to try and feel, and then your mental model for what you actually should build improves and improves. And and secondly, once you've put in a prompt, you can share what you built with one click to your colleagues, and they will tell you like, no, this is not what we want, and you'll get better ideas from that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the collaboration features and ideas around that must be endless. It's like
Yeah,
instead of a bicycle for the mind, you're building a rocket ship for the mind.
I'll pick that phrase. Yes.
So everything at Lovable seems to be happening just so much faster than normal. I think Laura earlier was joking that every time she checks online, there's a new growth number. It used to be that we had some like pretty clear benchmarks for what it means to be like a great looking SaaS company, like the 3x, 3x, 2x, 2x year over year growth over 4 years. Obviously, that growth curve does not apply to many AI companies. How do you know you're doing well?
I mean, we do look at those revenue numbers, but our North Star is not on the revenue. It's about the number of users that are sticking with us. And now we have 120,000 are paying, and that's the simplest way to measure that. What we're increasingly doing is to look at like what's the success for our users, and that's that you've built something that gets usage, or for the like design phase, it's just getting eyeballs, getting some kind of eyeballs, and then it's getting having them have high retention numbers on their users. And we have many apps that are like hundreds of thousands of users on their applications as well, or like visitors, and just the number of our users that get to that stage is we're like starting to optimize for.
Yeah. So for the aspiring AI company builders and founders out there, what have been some of the most significant inflection points for Lovable?
Yeah, so we launched the full product Lovable generally in late November, and then we got like from a launch, you get a bit more attention, and you get more usage. I think like as I remember it, a few days after, the new signups kind of started to decline per day. But then as people started sharing what they had built on social media, and us amplifying that and just sharing how we were building, how we were improving the product Lovable, then that speed just started growing faster and faster and faster, and that's been happening all throughout the last 6 months since the launch.
Has the revenue growth curve been consistent, or were there sort of inflection points tied to specific go-to-market strategies or other things that you guys did as a company?
I think there was like a bit of a boost in the beginning where we worked with a few content creators that explained the products, just like we wanted them. They were very good at educating. And then I think there've been bumps just randomly. Now you can say, oh, there's a bump here. What was that? Oh, maybe it was some news coverage or similar. But almost all of the growth is from word of mouth. So it's like it looks almost scary, like linear or like very predictable growth.
Any other social media tactics you guys have taken, or sort of interesting marketing moves?
I think we try to be as authentic as possible on social media, and people like that. It's much more interesting to read all about those things and share our ups and downs, and focus on things that are improving on the product side. That's usually what we post. And in the beginning, I think that was important. These days, I don't know if it matters so much for the growth, but it's something that our users like to see, and it helps us getting attention for people to join the Lovable team, which we're very excited about as well.
Fantastic. Well, I'd love to talk a little bit more about the team and what it looks like in a sec, but maybe to sort of tie out this section, obviously you guys are sort of a fantastic example of a product-led growth company. From the bottom up, folks are just kind of adopting the product self-serve and building a bunch of cool tools in it. And then it seems like because you're on this accelerated growth path, you're also starting to go up market a lot faster than most businesses would in this time in their life cycle. Is that right? And how are you guys thinking about that?
Yeah, so we launched the team plan a month ago, and we've already have more than 5,000 people who paid more to get it on the teams plan where you collaborate, and that's done by a company, right? And from the teams plan and just in general, there's hundreds or thousands of larger companies and enterprises that have seen, oh wow, I can move much faster. I'm not bottlenecked by engineering to the same extent I was before. And what we're doing is just to ensure they have a great experience and get their questions answered. For now, that's everything we do. But of course, we want to figure out how can engineers on the Lovable team, as we scale the customer-facing engineering function out, help in getting as much value as possible with using AI to move faster as a business and move like you had 1,000 excellent engineers at the company.
Do you have a big sales team, or is it also quite bottoms up within even enterprises?
Yeah, we almost have a non-existent sales team, but we just brought on a great leader to build up this part.
Oh, fantastic. So yeah, so how big is the team and how is it organized?
So we're about 30 people now, and we've had to just increase on support side quickly because with this volume, there's always support the questions. We're 17 engineers, people working in operations, and now increasingly some people who didn't even start there, but now talking to some of our most important larger companies that we want to help.
Amazing. I mean, and you were obviously you've kind of been at other companies. You've seen how they're structured. Are you guys doing anything differently on the team side with how you're structured, just given how product development and building and selling works now?
I think the most important thing for us is really to have a product engineering team with. Often many are previous founders that have built from the ground up before. And have think a lot about the entire user experience, so that we and we obsess about all the parts of how is the experience going through Lovable, the AI parts, the integration parts, and the entire UX. And just over the years, having that mindset and the type of talent that does that really, really well has been what I see as the most important thing for any company like ours. I worked at sales-led companies before, and now it's been just, as you said, product-led. And we recently added someone on the team on growth to actually make us more sophisticated in how we do marketing and how the product lets users spread the word more easily. And something that's very unique is that we want to help founders, and we want to help them build their product, but we also want to help them get distribution on their product, right? So we're kind of building in growth over time into the offering of building on Lovable. One part of this is just we have this launched feature so that you can get your first users by saying, okay, I built something on Lovable. Try it out. But a lot more is coming on that dimension.
Whoa, that sounds to me like the holy grail, because in the end, everyone, what they're really looking for is user traction. So do you feel like you guys are sort of in the right spot to share the best practices and look at what all of your customers are doing and say this is a thing that you could really do to get traction for your business? Or how are you even thinking about that? That seems like a hard problem to solve.
Yeah, so a wonderful person called Elena, she recently joined, and after we posted on LinkedIn about it, everyone was pinging me oh, you hired the best growth person in the world. And the reason she was so excited about joining is that she did this for many companies before, is that she wants to build out the AI version of a growth team for all the founders building on the Lovable platform, and take all of her expertise and kind of scale that out to all the companies that we want to help.
Yeah, no, that's it's funny. It's similar things I feel at Stripe. We get to see all these companies doing all these awesome things, and as the platform, you kind of get to enable all of them,
Yeah,
and hopefully
I love
help
that.
them. Yeah, totally help them grow from the network. So yeah, it feels super related. And so on that note, the thing I'm really sort of very interested in is how are you guys using Lovable at Lovable? Are you building with Lovable at Lovable?
Um, we are creating. I mentioned launched, for example. That's launch.lovable.dev is built on Lovable. We have an accelerator program for founders to get support on building successful companies and building on Lovable. It's shipped.lovable.app, and those are built with Lovable. I think some of our other like pages internally are built on Lovable. We still have not done this bootstrap where everything on Lovable is edited with itself, and we are going to get there. There are so many things to build, so there's an opportunity cost in prioritizing something like that.
That's
But we
the
are using AI, of course, AI to build ourselves.
Of course, it's the hardest part. And so, yeah, I was actually just reading an article about like, hey, companies are kind of in the trough of despair right now when it comes to AI because a lot of them have spent a lot of money, but like they're not seeing the sort of the immediate results. How are you measuring, the sort of the impact of AI, using AI for product development within your company and just for faster movement in your company?
Um, I I mean, we try to socialize how the different ways to use AI. Like many of us have like this app installed where you can just speak to ChatGPT or similar, and then it helps you like draft your emails and all of these things. But the bigger unlock, I think, is on the software engineering side. And still to date, I think it's about, okay, I have this complex system. So Lovable is a very, very complex system, right? It's very, very complex. I want to do this change. Can you just bring up all the most important files for me to understand like what could go wrong if I do this change? Like that type of productivity is where we have the most for ourselves building. But when you don't have such a like, complex system as ours, but you're building a like just a simple SaaS, then AI really works like end to end, and that's what we're seeing with people making hundreds of thousands of dollars having built production ready applications, but just by prompting, no code, not looking at the code ever.
Well, and I suppose the sort of the proof is in the pudding. If you can launch a company with 30 people or whatever it is, and get to sort of get to the size that you guys are at, it's in itself sort of pretty unprecedented. I think at Stripe we found we're shipping 30% more code, and so who knows if it's better code, but it's we are shipping more.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
we're seeing some traction there. What models are you doing? Are you using? Have you built your own models?
We haven't done that. We have looked at fine tuning our models, and what we're seeing is that the foundation model labs they come out with new models, and the hardest part to get right is this interaction between like the AI, the complex agentic systems of like how the models are used, and the user experience. And we want to spend as much part on the last two as possible. Like how are the AI reasoning and so on used, and how does this translate to a user experience for what the human actually experiences. And if we're spending time on the AI, it's time we could have spent on making the other two parts better. There are opportunities in making the response times faster by creating our own model, so we might look at it in the future, but it's not the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah, so I think what you're actually basically implicitly saying there is like, look, the value is going to be in the UI, the UX, that experience. It's not going to be in sort of the model layer, basically.
Yes, and figuring out how you like hook up the models to all the actions that it takes, like the agentic side of like how should all of this work together. There are all of these tools and infrastructure pieces in software engineering that you need to expose to the models in a smart way so that it works reliably.
So Lovable is based in Stockholm. I'm also from the Netherlands. Europe is near and dear to my heart. You've described building in Europe as doing a startup in hard mode. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, look, there is much more people who built SaaS and like startups before that you can that have like very very good expertise that you can hire in the US, and much less so in Europe, and it's more difficult to like be have a very very strong network that can help you spread the word,
Mm.
introduce you to the right people who are like or high profile, like taste with good taste, so they can spread the word. And in Europe, there's much less of that, but we have a lot of very talented people, and if you put the talented people together and you work very close together, um, and become very ambitious, like what we've done at Lovable, then the, I mean, with the right recipe, there are advantages on that side because there is no the same kind of talent magnets that you're competing with
Mm.
in Europe.
So do you think it's is it like a talent density problem? You just need to get everyone together, like everyone's kind of spread out. There isn't sort of a clear like Silicon Valley hub. Is it like a funding problem? Is it a like, if you were to sort of like solve Europe's having to build a startup in hard mode problem,
Uh,
what would you say?
yeah, yeah. So it's like the talent is, I guess, the same, and it's more available in Europe. The the seniority on different things is lower, like the specific skill sets and functions. Um, but the ambition level is the biggest problem. I think like there's fewer people that are like super ambitious. Like, okay, this is a unique opportunity in the history of mankind, and we're here to build the best way to build software applications with AI. Like instilling that mindset is easier in the US, and if it was more of this super high ambition in Europe, then we would see much more successful companies from here.
Is Europe just too nice? It's too comfortable and too nice? Is that like why the ambition
Yeah,
problem?
yeah, that's what you're rephrasing it as. I think there's something to that. Yes.
All right. Well, every day I'm just so amazed at how fast the whole AI LLM space is moving. What's something you think will be possible in a year that isn't possible today?
Oh, so I think the like agents, they often get confused and trip over themselves, and we're in a year going to see that happening, like by an order of magnitude less often. So you can unleash them more in the wild, and they can when they trip up, they will understand that they actually tripped up and fix that themselves. So currently we constrain the AI a lot, which is the reason a lot of hard work goes into that, which makes it quite reliable. But in the future, there's going to be less and less of constraining it, and it will have access to the internet, and it will have access to like collecting data from all different places, running tests and so on, and that's going to make it possible to build faster, build reliable things much faster.
All right. I think this is a great time to do some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Yeah, try and answer these in a few words or less. Open source, over or underrated?
Unfortunately, with AI, it's overrated. Like an AI model can just spit out open source code, so to say.
Europe, invest or divest?
With the raw talent here, I will definitely invest in people building on the consumer side, especially.
Hacker houses, do you recommend them?
Yes.
And for those who don't know, Anton and his wife live in a hacker house in the old town in Stockholm, I believe, right?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, we'd love to visit you there someday, Anton. This
Come
was
by, Ike, come by.
well, you only have to tell me once. This was so fantastic, Anton. Thank you so much. Really, myself and everyone at Stripe, we're such big fans of Lovable. So thank you for building just an incredible product.
Thank you.
Well, I think there's no better way of showing the magic of Lovable than actually, seeing it live in a demo. So, Anton, as our premier expert on the product, would you like to give us a small demo?
Sure, I love doing Lovable demos. So here, what you can see is just Lovable and this simple prompt box where you put in your idea. And what I figured I would do is to make a copy of Stripe. And then we'll see if I'll be able to compete with you. After I did this, I got to this page and I did attach my screenshot of how my Stripe dashboard looks. And after the AI kind of wrote all the code here, and you don't have to look at the code, but you can see the code, then you get this first version of the Stripe dashboard. And like this is now looks pretty good as a design, and you can, if you want to, share this with your friends by just clicking like a publish link, and then you get the a link you just share it in Slack with your colleagues, or you can add a custom domain if you want to. You can even buy your custom domain here in the Lovable UI. But probably you aren't done here, and what you want to do is to do some changes. What you typically do is you ask for something to change, maybe making something more interactive in the chat box here. And what you can also do if you want to do smaller changes like styling changes is that you can do them instantly without waiting for the AI by just selecting a text element and saying, okay, let's change the font size, for example, or change the color to something non-stripe color. Like what this does is that it's not just a static website like normal website builders, but this is actually a super custom code base that any developer can go into and do whatever they want, or you can ask the AI to be able to build almost literally anything you want that you can create with a modern tech stack that we're using. But so far the backend capabilities haven't been connected. So what I'll do is that I'll show what you need to do to take this from an interactive experience that's running in the browser, and you can just click here and then it's running separately on a separate URL, to having capabilities on the backend. So that means storing data, logging in, or even adding AI capabilities with just one prompt. So then what you do is that you connect Superbase, and I have so many projects here that I've built, so I hope I'll find the one that I prepared for as an isolated backend instance running on like enterprise grade infrastructure with Superbase. And then now that this is connected, then I can ask for anything that's required on the backend side. So let's actually ask for adding authentication or login. And then what happens is that there are multiple steps behind the scenes of the AI figuring out what information do I need. So here you can see how the AI has been thinking, and now it's writing code. And then it's going to plug into the backend infrastructure and update that so that there is authentication set up. And if you want to have like more fine-grained control as a user, you can go in and manage users or edit the data, or manage like the secrets that you need if you integrate, for example, with Stripe in a separate UI. That is like the default infrastructure that startups actually use today is Superbase. So here I can manually add users, or I will be able to add users in the copy of Stripe here, the application that we're building, by just like clicking register. So let's see if it finishes now after 1 minute. So here it tells me also like here's where I go on users. Here's how I can configure the authentication. For example, like do I want it to send an email? I just click the auth settings and configure that. Okay, now you cannot just see the dashboard instantly. You need to sign up. So I'll try to do that. And then I think get an email to verify my account, and I should then be able to log in. But that's everything I wanted to demo. You can, as you can figure out, build pretty much anything with this. When you will start becoming really complex, what you might want to do is to connect with GitHub and then let an engineer loop in and edit the code however they want. But most of our users, they just build purely in Lovable, and they publish and connect their custom domains and build. The biggest power users that where we get most of our revenue are actually startup founders.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, Anton and Eka, for joining us. We appreciate you both so much. And to all of you out there, thank you for spending your valuable time with us. All of you, I really encourage you to check out Lovable and give it a try. See what it can do for you. We are so proud that Lovable is building on Stripe. And if you, like Anton, are on the company building journey yourself, I really encourage you to check out Stripe Startups. Stripe Startups is Stripe's dedicated program designed to support early-stage venture-backed businesses build, iterate, and scale faster. Once accepted into the program, you can get access to fee credits to offset Stripe product fees on all kinds of products on Stripe. You also get access to expert insights and a focused community of other founders building on Stripe. You can learn about it on our website at stripe.com/startups and apply there. And have a great day. And thanks again.